Hi, friends. My name's host Eric. I'm the host talking to famous people. And what we are here to talk about tonight is Cameron's coming over. So I figure I might as well start streaming while we're waiting for him to get here.
Mm-hmm.
We just went on a scooter ride to Scooter Town, and that was very pleasant.
Yeah, it really was. We got to see some electric lights, which were fun. Take some pictures.
I titled this live stream "Feeling Misunderstood." Join this stream.
Aww.
Are you feeling
Do you
misunderstood?
feel misunderstood by me?
No, I don't feel misunderstood.
Okay.
I didn't say I feel misunderstood. Therefore, I'm streaming. I'm saying, do you feel misunderstood?
Oh.
Join this stream. Why? Because my job is to understand you like you've never been understood before. Hi, Cameron. Host Eric here, understanding people. Totes my goats. Do your thing. Meet up with your guy about your thing. No problem. All right, cool. All right, thanks, Cameron. Bye. Oh, no, Cameron's not coming over.
Oh.
He has to meet up with a guy about a thing. I guess his Christmas ISTJ work is working, is paying off well for him. As an ISTJ, basically one of the kinds of main work he does now that he's no longer substitute teaching is he buys like Birkin scooters, fixes them up, and resells them. So this may end up being a somewhat shorter stream than I anticipated because it wasn't so much that I was super in the mood to stream as, well, if we're going to have company over, we might as well make frivolity of it, you know?
Yeah. I have to say, overall, it's been a pleasant Christmas, though.
It has been a pleasant Christmas. And I do want to afford anyone who wants to come in here and express how they're feeling misunderstood to do so. If the chat is working.
Christmas can be a time where people do feel misunderstood.
People feel blue a lot on
Yeah.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, men like gods.
Yeah.
I think my dad is feeling a little fussy today on Christmas. But, you know, we spent some Christmas time with him yesterday. We haven't seen much of him today. I was napping for a good portion of the day. And then, we live streamed this stuff. Of course, my dad's kind of intimidating, not necessarily the person who's you're going to most warmly want to go provide Christmas cheer to.
No. The Christmas news that we got from him was about...
Right. Alex. So, yeah, it's, I'm sure, to a certain extent, probably my dad feels misunderstood, but I'm not sure if he's really capable of feeling misunderstood. That would seem to be kind of an NI thing, maybe.
Yeah.
If anybody in the world who happens to see the stream, come and join us, has such feelings of misunderstanding, please do share them with us today so that we can understand you.
Yeah, we're here to understand.
Apparently, it's not a very popular topic because it's only me and you, and then like God's here.
Oh.
I think maybe one more person, but and men like God's may have already left. I'm not sure.
It's almost 8:00, so I bet you a bunch of people are saying their goodbyes.
I'm saying good night, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be Waldo Ludowski.
Oh.
Huh. You just joined. Glad you're live. Tired of listening to the other live person you were listening to. Yeah. What were they talking about? Were they talking about how important cheese is? Because that's one of the many subjects we're talking about today. FOMO hot. Are you feeling misunderstood? Back when Men Like Gods was Waldo Ludowski, he took way too much heat. You're feeling drunk. Question and answer live stream. What were the Q&As about? What kind of questions were people asking them? This person. Is it typology stuff? For me, it's been a bit of a relationship edges occasion. Every relationship that has edges to it shows their edges at Christmas. My dad's relationship with my daughter, my dad's relationship with me, they both are showing some edges here at Christmas time. And my daughter's relationship with her mom's family, and I just assumed it was your name. Is Waldo Ludowski somebody famous? I've never heard of them before, if they are.
Yeah, me neither.
I just thought that was your name.
I thought that was
Waldo
your
Ludowski.
name also.
Oh, C.S. Joseph is live streaming right now, too.
Is that synchronicity? That's PNP! Oh, kitty pageant winner. It's so good to see you.
That's simply irresistible. You believe C.S. Joseph is smart but misguided? Well, you're half right. I mean, I agree. C.S. Joseph probably does have no one to love him on Christmas, and that's probably pretty sad. And that's the thing. It's like, if Christmas brings out all the edges to people's relationships because it's a stressful time, it just goes to show you how easy our relationship is.
Yeah.
This holiday has not brought us any tension between us at all. It hasn't. There's been zero holiday-related stresses for us.
Yeah.
Morris, if you don't just smoke a lot of weed or eat a lot of weed, you really have to be careful eating weed because you can get way too high. You
can actually get like the runs from like weed poops from having too many edibles. Like that's happened to me before where I've had a lot of edibles and smoked a lot too, and I was like, oh my gosh, my stomach.
Sometimes it doesn't make you feel that good in the stomach.
In the stomach.
It's true. FOMO hot, if you are in fact intuitive, then you definitely will just pick it up as you go along. You don't really have to study it. You just got to think about it a little bit here and there. Yeah, I just heard from somebody else as well. Question mark. C.S. Joseph was also live. I'm sure he has a lot more people in his live stream than I have in mine. So what can you really say about that? To me, even if I try to remove all my bias from the matter entirely, I would suggest that I would get bored very quickly with C.S. Joseph's live stream because he's just sort of making statements, you know. But it also shows you that I'm in the minority, you know. Well, law of attraction is basically a way of trying to
Hi, baby.
turn your
Morale.
subjective self into an object. I was so high I had to strip naked in a Barnes & Noble bathroom. Well, at least you were in the bathroom.
Yeah. Are you going outside, kitty? Oh my goodness. So inside outside.
Thank you, question mark. Yeah, CS Joseph is much more popular than I am and provides like almost every other typology channel, provides more of a typology product that people want than I do, obviously, because you can see by the numbers, you know, it's clear as day. Numbers don't lie. So I find that a little bit demoralizing, not because it means he's better, but it means because there are so few people who can tell that he's worse. You know, it's not like I doubt my intuition about what's inherently superior. It's that I doubt the capacity of others to recognize it. I don't know. Relationship edges, while concurrently acknowledging that their recognition of it is the only thing that really matters. So it's a weird confluence of things. Relationship edges, they just mean like if there are problems between you and somebody else that aren't really dealt with good EQ, emotional intelligence, then things will emerge at Christmas time. The conflicts that you have between people that get sort of smoothed over in the regular time of year come to the head at Christmas time because it's where people have sort of a natural stakes to it. Like, come on now, it's Christmas. Gives you a certain amount of leverage, so it's inherently a high stakes kind of phenomenon. And concurrently, people's conflicting values come into stark resolve accordingly because you've got these very specific kind of holiday engagements that you wouldn't normally have in any other context except for a holiday.
Yeah.
Everyone's ways of knowing, doing, deciding, etc., come into stark resolve and often in stark conflict with each other. I don't even know who that is, question mark. Ma and Anand Sheila? I have no idea who that is.
Oh, I love you, Fancy. Thank you. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Thank you, baby. Thank you.
Osho's girlfriend? What type is she? Either incredibly gullible or incredibly cynical.
Oh, I love you too, baby. Thank you.
Seamus the drunk. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about for Christmas. Seamus says he got in multiple arguments with his Effie Dom sister and can't stand the Immanuel Kant, if being perfectly honest. That's what we should use instead of the CUNT word. We should use Immanuel Kant. Just like instead of retarded, we should say Jean-Luc Picarded. That way we can get around everybody's fussinesses. No, I said you're Jean-Luc Picarded. Nothing wrong with that.
Morale.
No. I didn't say you're a cunt. I said you're an Immanuel Kant. See what I'm saying? That's smart of me. You Kant. Oh my God, she is such a Kant. What? An Immanuel Kant.
Immanuel Kant. I like
The
that.
deontologist? Yeah.
Deontologist.
She's such an Immanuel Kant. She's totally utilitarian, though. Okay, shut up. What is a cognitive function anyway? See a question mark. A cognitive function is a way of paying attention that is distinct relationally from another way of paying attention. So, for example, playing with your toys, getting your toys out and playing with them is this person again. No. I looked into this shit and it was just nonsense. It was just crazy nonsense. No, I'm not interested in your particular brand of crazy nonsense. Thank you for offering, though. I appreciate it. I am not a huge Foucaulter, although I will say we used a Foucault card to respond to a further left argument with a less left argument with Foucault. Not that long ago in a debate round.
Does anyone feel misunderstood?
Is anybody feeling misunderstood? Hellfire Language Translations channel? You're probably feeling a little misunderstood right now. You're not misunderstood. I understand you. That's why I don't want to go with you. Go Foucault yourself. So I'm just like, Foucault yourself, dude. And he's like, how Deirdre you? Is that each other guy's name? Deirdre? Deirdre? Deirdre or something like that? You literally Google Foucault. I'm glad you didn't just figuratively Google Foucault. When people say I literally Googled something, they almost certainly mean literally.
Yes.
It's rare, like, you know, you hear somebody say, I'm literally starving to death.
Yeah.
In that case, they mean figuratively.
Yes.
But I can't imagine a similar context where you use the verb Google. I will literally Google that, where you just meant figuratively.
Yeah. No.
No, there is no figuratively Googling something.
Yeah.
Which MBTI type is hardest for me to deal with and which is hardest for Rachel to deal with? I mean, I find ESFPs most difficult to deal with. And second, I would say ENFPs I find difficult to deal with. Yeah, Foucault's theory seems confusing because it doesn't make any fucking sense because he's an ENFP.
I find ESTJs and that's it. Yes, see, some of the most difficult types of, like, I've had the longest relationships with, like, so it doesn't make a difference whether, like, if it is. So, my answer is ESTJ, and second hardest ESFJ.
I mean, is that true of Foucault? I've never heard that said about him before, but maybe. I have no idea. I have no idea what Foucault's is, but there seems to be some accusations here that he's a pedo, but I had this is the first I've ever heard of that regarding Foucault. I just know he's dumb. You know, it's like he's not a smart man. He just has good language skills. Good language skills with bad TI equals Foucault, equals ENFP. Good language skills, bad TI. It's a bad mix if they try to do philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But occasionally I'll use Foucault, like I'll use any other writer, as a means to an end in debate. In debate, in competition debate, I mean, if that's true, if there's good evidence of that, then in theory, nowadays you could probably use that as a source indict. If somebody's using Foucault as a moralist argument anyway, you could use that reality as a source indict. I might have to look into possibly doing that. If there's evidence of that. That would be that'd be an interesting way to critique Foucault in a debate round. Because of course it's not relevant. It's totally irrelevant. Except if the person's saying we need to respect Foucault's well, just because he's used to justify it doesn't mean he himself is guilty of it. I mean, there have been plenty of people who attempt to use libertarian arguments to justify it, but it doesn't mean libertarianism itself actually justifies it. That's why that's why consent is defined, and there'd be an age of consent and an age of majority and an age of minority and stuff like that. And the fact that it's a rule, not a standard, means it's subject to being a rule, not a standard. In other words, if you set the legal age of consent at, say, 18, for some people that might be too old, and for some people that might be too young. But it's a rule, so that's the consequence of employing a rule technique. The alternative is to employ a standard, which is totally inconceivable in this context, so we apply a rule instead. So you just have to accept that there are the natural consequences of applying a rule. So the thing is, just because libertarianism can be used to justify it doesn't mean that libertarians are pedos. Foucault may have been used to justify pedos, but doesn't mean he himself was one. Although he may have been one. I'm not saying he wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, we did the scooter thing.
Yeah, we did. It was fun. We got to see some electric lights.
Well, Valerie Alwood, the thing is about the rule thing, is it works like this. We all agree broadly, or there's broad consensus, that children of a certain age are unable to make informed decisions that are the kind of informed decisions that are required for real consent, which means, for example, we don't want to allow a 5-year-old to take out a loan from the bank. And the reason is not because we're worried about the bank. It's because we're worried about the 5-year-old. We don't want the 5-year-old to incur a bunch of debt that the 5-year-old doesn't know what the meaning of is yet, right? So the idea of consent is that consent is fully informed. And the idea of an age of consent is that at this age you are considered to be old enough to be responsible, to be fully informed enough to make consenting decisions. Of course, there's still the responsibility of both parties in a consenting decision to make sure that both parties are fully informed. Now, that means different things in different contexts. The point is, there should be no dispute amongst anybody that children of a certain young age are too young to make fully informed decisions that involve consensual acts of a variety of kinds, contracts or whatever. And it's also broad consensus among people that at a certain point, people become adults and should be empowered to engage in said fully informed decision making. So then the question simply becomes, where do we draw that line exactly? But the fact that we're going to draw the line arbitrarily at some point, and that it might be slightly too old or too young or something, is an inevitable consequence of the fact that we have to draw the line at some point, and we have to use a rule rather than a standard. Because the alternative to using a rule here would be say, when people are mature enough, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of those things, then that's when they get to make decisions. But then we have to have a discretionary party exercise their discretion for each individual as to how mature they are. Or we try to standardize something like that, which is fundamentally unfair because it's going to prioritize certain qualities of personhood over others. Like the alternative to our current approach to an age of consent would be to have a judge, have all teenagers have to meet with a judge of some sort, and the judge asks them a bunch of questions, and then the judge say, okay, no, you're not ready to have sex yet. Or the judge say, sorry, I know you're only 14, but you're ready now, or something. And we don't, it's like, that's not a feasible way to do things. And it's not a smart way to do things. It's not a good way to do things. And it's not a fair way to do things, because no matter how clear we make the standards, it ultimately will be an arbitrary discretionary thing. So, and here in the United States, we've differentiated between age of consent for different things. So 18 for most stuff, but 21 for some stuff. So when it comes to drugs and alcohol, it's been determined that 21 is a better age, because people between 18 and 21, that's when they're likely to have poor decision making about drugs and alcohol most of all. I would tend to agree with that reasoning, but Greta Thunberg, well, so whenever people ask me about the question of age of consent or bring it up, my position is I think it's fine the way it is right now. I don't think it needs to be older. I don't think it needs to be younger. I think it's absolutely appropriate to have Romeo and Juliet laws that say, if a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old sleep together, there should be no legal involvement in that, probably, assuming it's fully consensual, There are certain states in the United States which make the age of sexual consent 16 or 17 instead of 18. Okay. Well, I don't mind discussing the thing as an abstract issue, but just yeah, So the thing is, it's obviously a very unpleasant topic. It's a very unpleasant topic for Christmas. But the reality is, I think 18 is a good age, and I also think, to the extent that communities can encourage people to preserve their childhood naivety and lack of experiential burden for as long as possible, that's broadly a good thing. It's broadly a good thing for kids to have sex later than sooner. It's broadly a good thing for kids to start doing drugs and alcohol later rather than sooner. It's, broadly a good thing for kids to have to work later than sooner. Although I do think a certain amount of labor in childhood, like the kind that I had to do, is probably very good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Where that was like helping my parents do stuff like paint the properties and stuff like that. It wasn't, working in a factory or something. It was intermittent chore kind of things.
It's good.
So I think it's important for kids to be exposed to actual work,
Mm-hmm.
but I also think it's important for kids to have their childhood preserved as long as possible, so that they feel safe, comfortable, taken care of, not responsible for things for as long as possible, more or less. And that means also sort of denying them some of the autonomy that comes with more responsibility for a little bit longer, maybe. I mean, of course, I feel that way because I'm a personality type that matures very slowly. So there's some personal bias in this as well. For somebody like an ESFJ, they are probably, pretty close to fully done at 18 or 19. They are ENFP, INFJ porn. Your cousin brought up that MBTI porn should be a thing. He'd pay serious money for ENFP, INFJ porn. And all you have to do is get, I guess, you could get two actors and two porn actors, and then say script it for them, like saying a bunch of ISTJ stuff, and then saying a bunch of whatever the two types are, ENFP, INFJ. Why those two types of all? Sorry, I get the INFJ part.
Morale.
Yeah. Seamus,
Yes.
I want to remind you of something. You're a bit of a drunk, okay? So the ESFJ is likely to have the actual natural chemistry of the actual types. Well, the other thing is, Legends Fall, though, is even if there is all that natural chemistry, if you're like me, then that natural chemistry takes a little bit of while to really play out in its full capacity. It's not instantaneous that things are. Oh no, it's pretty instantaneous, really. Actually, no.
We got lucky though.
I mean, right? Yeah, I mean,
Because
I'm sure Rachel and my first encounter would make good pornography, but the point is, that's not the
I'm
point.
not doing that.
No, of course we're not, Rachel.
Okay, there you go.
It's a question of the issue being addressed here is what Legends Fall says.
Okay.
Could you basically get actors that you scripted them lines to make them sound like types, or would you
Okay.
need the natural chemistry between the two types? And then I was saying,
Natural chemistry.
Rachel and I have a lot of natural chemistry, but it took a little while for them. And I thought, well, actually, it didn't really take a little while for that to manifest. It was kind of right away. And so in that regard, I was saying, okay, I guess in that sense, you're sort of right that natural chemistry would have made my first encounter with Rachel better porn than my first encounter with anybody else, really, probably.
Yeah.
But I still would say that to really get the full chemistry of it, you'd have to find couples, probably, for some types. Other types, maybe not. Maybe ESTP, ISFJ, you get maximal chemistry the first time. It's possible. And then it gets boring after that for them. I don't know. It doesn't work that way for me, but I'm just throwing it out there. Legends Fall. Maybe you could verify
I would love to study that. ESTP, ISFJ. I don't know why.
Well, we could start a combination research facility porn production company.
No, I don't want to get on that side of the business.
Legends Fall. What I was saying is, do you think that? So, I think that while the chemistry between ENTP and INFJ would probably be fairly revelatory right away, and was for us right away, that it nevertheless would be more fully realized if you were to have it as porn now than at the beginning. And I was positing, I wonder if it's the opposite for ESTP and ISFJ, that you get the most, what's that word, fireworks the first time, and then after that the parties get bored or something. I was just positing if that were possible.
I wonder. Now that we know that my sister's an ISFJ, I really want her to meet an ESTP to see how it goes.
Well, now I'm distracted as well by this question. being gay and gay porn, like would you act gay for gay porn? And men like God says, as long as I just pitch and don't catch. I mean, the thing is, I was thinking, God, it'd probably be easier to just catch because then you wouldn't have to worry about being aroused. Is that 2TE a frame of reference? That might be 2TE a frame of reference for this one.
Look at me, pee.
I mean, do you find Legends Fall in general that you get the most fireworks early in your engagement with people and those fireworks diminish over time? Or that they just stay the same forever, or what?
Oh, and handsome daddy, yes. Oh, and handsome daddy.
I would say that's a very demonstrative TE answer to the question. Like, catcher because I'm more confident in my ability to successfully execute that part of it.
I like
Probably,
that.
I don't have to have any physiological engagement. Dogs or cats, and why? Well, right now, a cat, because we have a cat, and
Yeah.
because we love our cat, and
Yeah.
because we don't want more pets.
No, we don't want. We have plenty pets.
If you were to sort of pluck us out of the sky from vacuum and put us down in a suburban home with me making 6 figures and Rachel working part-time, bringing home another 60 grand a year, and thanks, Mama Hut.
Thanks.
You're the best.
Merry Chrysler to you too. I love that. Fine.
Well then, I mean, I would probably say in a vacuum put me down for a dog. If we were like just got married, settling into a home, had a career, all that kind of nonsense. Yeah, I probably want to get a dog. But
A dog would be nice, but we have a cat.
Eric, I don't know if I'm misunderstood or if there is just plain something wrong with me and people pick up on it.
Oh my wow, you know someone's out there.
Well, you mad, bro?
What's going on, PP?
Sometimes I have trouble understanding your quizzical face, which I find to be placed in odd locations on occasion. Like, why would that comment go with that quizzical face? Your quizzical face sometimes makes me make a quizzical face. Is that me misunderstanding you? What would you like to be understood that you feel has not been clarified for the world?
I'm gonna go and see.
I love my cat, so you don't want to say dog, right? Well, I don't want anything other than my cat right now.
Yeah, me too.
That's for sure. What's going on out there, kitty? Something big is going on in the world.
He's squirted again. No, I'm just.
I'm just imagining. You're
Yeah.
smell hallucinating.
Yeah, I'm hallucinating.
Right now we have a lot of pets. In actuality, we have a lot of pets. We have PP, who I just think is not liking the next door neighbors.
I'm pro 5, which is to say, I think the use of the fife in a 3-person musical ensemble needs to be restored. It used to be with a fife and a drum and something else, you could make, I guess, a U.S. flag. You could make your own little musical militia. What happened to the fife? You never hear anybody playing the fife anymore, right?
Yeah, no.
That's why I'm pro 5. Well, we have Kitty Meow, who's our real pet. We have one real pet, which is Pee-Pee, Capillo.
Yeah.
But then we also have this stray cat that we feed called Trouble. We
He's
mentioned
very
something.
handsome.
The very handsome scamp. We can't help but feed him because he's such a handsome scamp.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have a peacock who we feed every day, twice a day or more. Peter.
And we have fish.
He comes back and we give him cat food, which he likes. And yeah, that's right. We have fish as well. We've got a whole tank full of guppies. We have more guppies than we know what to do with. Those things reproduce pretty well in captivity. And I started out with like 9 of them, and now we got like shit ton.
Yeah, we do.
So we're going to have to take some down to the local lake and put them in the
I'm
local lake.
excited to do that though.
Leaf trimmer.
Oh.
Leaf trimmer, I don't like your use of potty words.
The perfect size towel for you.
It is not a peacock. It's a peacock. Okay?
Oh, beauty. You love to be comfortable and warm. You're such an FI dom.
Men like gods, basically you're saying, fuck whatever. But I won't let whatever fuck me.
Oh, kitty meow. Morale.
I know it was leaf trimmer, and yet I removed it anyway. Because that's the sort of potty language that got your last account deleted by YouTube, I bet. You might say, but Eric, you use potty language all the time. And that I would say, good point. That's a good point. I don't doubt you feel quite unjustly treated accordingly. That's a totally fair response. What? That's not satisfying? Well, that's all I got for you.
He's such a kitty pageant winner for a kitty.
I'm going to make myself another cup of coffee here.
Oh, I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
Yep, thank you.
And you know what else I'd like to do? I'd like to share with everybody a few moments with our other special friend. We don't just have
Yes.
cats and fish and peacocks.
No. Look who's here.
Isn't she adorable?
She is.
Look at her. Growing there like a little princess. We are from California. Knows how to party.
No, not hard.
We're from California. California.
Yes, we are.
So we can grow weed if we want. And we do.
Oh, Mama. You look so pretty over there. Yes, you, Peach Nose.
You're scared of Cali? Well, Fumble Hot, that makes your relationship with California reciprocal because, incidentally and ironically, California is scared of you. Yeah, we got skunks, we got raccoons, we got squirrels, we got birds of all sorts, we got parrots,
Coyote.
we got coyotes. I've never seen one down outside of the mountains, but there are mountain lions. There's bears. I've never seen a bear around here personally, but a couple of years ago, there was a bear got hit on the freeway on the 210 where it goes up next to the mountains. We got all kinds of wildlife around here, but the thing is, Cali does have a lot of wildlife in general, but where I am in Los Angeles, especially, is this particular neighborhood is right next to the Los Angeles County Arboretum, and the neighborhood around the Arboretum is very heavily treed, and there's lots of birds and stuff. Plus, the Arboretum used to be the home of Leaf Trimmer makes a good point. Leaf Trimmer really makes a good point, and then like gods. There's no equivalent to mouthwash. And thus Leaf Trimmer points out, but your dick will stay reeking of manhole. That's such a gross sentence. It's a very rated R chat. I have to remove your great comment here. It's so it's harsh on the eyes. It's harsh on the eyes. Like God says, I can buy soap for 200 grand. Okay, well, I can buy mouthwash for that much too. So I don't understand why my catcher answer is inherently worse. Not that anybody's making that claim here, but well, I mean, you know, it seems like you have to do less work for one thing. How much does a year of therapy cost? You have to figure that in. I don't think a year of therapy is going to solve that problem. You're just going to always go like, remember that day I decided to... Boy, that was a bad decision. I don't know what was going on with me that day, but I really made a poor decision that day.
What day was that?
The day that I took the 200 grand to make gay porn. Okay. Well, I think I'm about done with the streamer rumor.
Okay.
And
Me too.
I think that what I want to do now is watch more of this fireman show that I'm watching. It's called Fire Force. And Tokyo has been beset, along with the rest of the world, with a series of spontaneous human combustions that turn into these demon-y guys called infernos. Now, there's a special fire force that goes around and kills the demon-y guys after the people have spontaneously combusted, while concurrently trying to figure out the real cause of these spontaneous combustions. It's on Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll, I advocate to anybody who listens. I am going to be Crunchyroll's biggest fan in terms of people who talk about how great a deal Crunchyroll is. $10 a month is the best $10 a month I've ever spent is on Crunchyroll. Oh my God, the amount of crazy, cool, weird stuff on there is just nuts. I've got a bunch of stuff in my queue now, like different anime shows that I've started watching, some of which are like happening right now. So it's like next week I'll see the next episode. And now I got a bunch of them lined up and it's fun, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I love anime. It's great. It's also hilarious. Like they have something set up in Crunchyroll where you can't take a screenshot of anything. I don't know how they managed to I don't know how they managed to do it, but you can't take a screenshot of a picture from one of their things. But I want to take a shot of a bunch of stills of endlessly curious woman and endlessly knowledgeable man, which are two characters in this baseball show.
I love that idea.
Because it's like there's so many episodes of it and it happens so often, it just starts to get crazy after a while, where she goes, it looks like they made a shift to the right. He says, that's because or she'll go, that's 2 walks in a row. Is Sakamura having trouble? And he'll say, it could be, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll think some additional stuff in his head. No, I never watched Sherman at Geek Psychology. How are ENTPs misunderstood? I mean, it depends what you mean by how are ENTPs misunderstood. I mean, if you mean how are actual ENTPs misunderstood by other people who aren't in the MBTI community, that's a question that's easy to answer. We're not exactly misunderstood. We are not understood, which is different. And that's on us because we don't care about making other people understand necessarily.
ENTPs.
Yeah.
Makes you guys rebels.
Your last therapist was mad when you told him you wouldn't listen to a therapist who had 4 B.F. Skinner books on his bookshelf. That's a good thing to say. And what about Rachel? Does she feel misunderstood?
Not anymore.
Not anymore, she says. Did you used to feel misunderstood?
Yes.
By whom?
Family members.
Family members?
Friends. Yeah. Some friends. I didn't know my type. So it was really hard to understand like why certain interactions would happen and they would go so wrong.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think she felt misunderstood. I think she felt not heard, not listened to, and not
Yeah.
respected, which are a little bit different.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because I think, to a certain extent, people around her did understand her. They were just telling her, see, that's what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know, we understand you perfectly clearly, and we're telling you that's what's wrong with you is the way you are.
Yeah.
But they were wrong. Well, you know, Rachel has a mental illness.
Yes.
Called bipolar mania. For the first 6 months or so that we were together, it was a ongoing struggle.
Yeah.
The thing is, when she was with her family dealing with this ongoing struggle, they had concluded, in conjunction with some people at this awful facility called Mercy Mental Health Services, had decided that marijuana smoking was a critical component in her mental health to a negative effect. She was telling them, no, it's not. But they didn't listen to her. Well, she's crazy, right? So why should they listen to her?
Mm-hmm.
And then they try to TE her. Well, you know, you better do this, or threat, or if you do this, then incentive. Well, TE is not gonna fly with an INFJ. It just makes them not want to do it regardless. And well, that's another thing that's wrong with you. But then she came here, and we got a good psychiatrist, and he cured her. Essentially, she no longer has bipolar in the sense that there's no indication of it at all. It's not being managed. It's in remission.
Yeah.
Now, note, if she doesn't get her drugs, it comes right back.
It doesn't go away.
But when she does get her drugs, it's completely gone. She's perfectly mentally healthy.
It's a lifesaver, really. Thanks for loving me even though I need to medication.
Of course. You are. Rachel is my hero because everything she's done from day one has aligned with proving me right about shit.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like my favorite thing in the world.
That's good. That shows compatibility, no?
Mm-hmm.
You look so cute there.
Thanks, Carmen.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks, guys. See you later.